Hello, everyone. My name's Hank Setala.
Aloha, I'm Brian Daniel Edwards.
And I am Yahavah Aquarian.
And we're here with another episode of Stir Crazy Shaman's Midnight Meanderings. Welcome, everyone. First, my apologies. We weren't able to stream last week. I was traveling and they had a hurricane in Hawaii. We did actually try to stream, and just the elements were against us last week. So we weren't able to stream, but we're here making up for it with a fun episode today. And I don't know where she went, but that's all right. She'll be back in just a moment. For now, though, I'll just remove her from the stream. Brian, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. It's been a little bit wild, camped out through a hurricane. That was kind of fun. So I have so many experiences that I had over those few weeks on the road. It was just wild.
Yeah, and for those of you who aren't aware, I think most of the people have been following us for a little bit of time. But if you're catching us for the first time, Brian is from Ohio, but then he started traveling the world. He's been to Mexico, Australia, and has been island hopping in Hawaii. And he also connected, I always mispronounce her name, Yahavah.
Yahavah, like
Yahavah.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, and she is our resident astrologer and always has a lot of great contributions. But last week there was a hurricane, and that's why we weren't able to stream. And Brian actually camped through it, but he got high up on a mountain, is my understanding. But tell us about your adventure.
Yeah, so the hurricane was interesting. I had a spiritual friend with deep knowledge send me over there, and a few people along the way had contacts over there, but I wasn't able to meet up with everyone. Everybody was like dug in their holes because of the pandemic. So I didn't get to meet up with many people over on that island, but the hurricane was coming and I didn't know. I just followed my intuition and went to the leeward side of the island and went to the leeward side of the mountain. So basically, there's a giant canyon that goes through the center of Kauai. So the hurricane would have had to jump over the first mountain, go down in basically a small Grand Canyon, and come up that side of the mountain to then get to me. So I missed all the wind. I was in a very strong eucalyptus forest. So it was actually, I love it. The Waimea Canyon reminds me so much of Australia. You cannot duplicate that smell. There's red clay up there. It was kind of arid and really bright sunny. And then there was tea trees, there's eucalyptus trees and acacia trees. And it smelled just like Australia. There's nothing that can beat the smell of a fresh eucalyptus or a tea tree. It is amazing. So I was just, kind of reminiscing that smell from Australia. So I spent a lot of time up there at the high altitude. I think it was 4,000-ish feet, give or take.
Very cool. Did you have opportunities to take some pictures of like the hurricane from the top or anything like that, or did it not even get close to you?
I could see it coming over the other side. It was kind of spilling over the one side of the mountain range into it, and it just looked like fog and clouds. It wasn't, and rain. It wasn't too crazy. And I didn't know how bad it was going to be.
And our other friend, she actually went down to the beach during the hurricane and was just kind of being out in nature as well. So it's kind of neat to see that not everybody's afraid of it and they're able to kind of still go out and enjoy.
Yeah, so I didn't want to play with it because I was on a mountain road. I didn't want to get stranded down at low elevation and have the roads, because everybody was warning about flash floods, mudslides, and this and that. So I'm like, I'm just going to dig in and weather it out up there. And, it also had to do with the court case. I went in there prepared for a fight, and they just dismissed. And I'm like, wait a second, I didn't get a chance to fight. And I was thinking, oh man, I want to go down in the thick of the storm and see how bad the winds are. And I'm like, wait a second, I can dig in the mountain up here and be dry and warm and not in the, I'm like,
Well,
Okay,
and
cool.
just to create context for anybody who hasn't seen previous episodes, Brian during the pandemic was just about to go to a beach. This is the short version of the story. Just about to go to the beach, was cracking a coconut. He had already changed and everything, and police came up and gave him a ticket for loitering, and he actually had to go to court, but the judge just drew it out. So he was ready to fight for his right to, crack open a coconut in the parking lot. Unfortunately, he didn't have to go through the effort.
Yeah, it was a really good thing. So it was really, okay, I'm ready for life to flow for me with joy and ease and glory, instead of, this, dragging out the drama and, oh, now I have a story to tell. Well, I don't need that story to tell. I don't have to have that, the drama there. And with that, the cops rolled up, literally. They rolled up. Two cop cars just kind of rolled in and walked over to me, handed me, said, okay, you're loitering, here's the ticket. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm cracking open coconut and going down and swimming, which is what you're legally allowed to do. You weren't allowed to hang out, but they rolled up and handed me a ticket. They had no idea how long I was there. I could have gotten out of the car and been there for 30 seconds before they rolled up. So
but that's the luck of Brian.
It was really kind of a bogus event.
Speaking of events, I know that we had a full moon just recently, and also in not Australia. Now you got me thinking Australia because you're talking about all the eucalyptus trees and everything. But in Peru, August 1st to the 4th is Pachamama Roimi, which is basically the Mother Earth's birthday. So today's little astrology thing is going to be super interesting. I'm just curious if there's anything good for Pachamama. Did you do anything for that? Normally we build a despacho. Were you able to do anything for Pachamama Raimi, or were you just kind of still?
I didn't even really know what day it was. I remembered it was Tuesday, and I'm on island time. So island time. Every day is island time. There's no seasons here. It's just today's sunny, today's cloudy. So it's,
this is the beauty about Hawaii is like it rains in the morning, then it's sunny at 10, and then around 1 or 2 it rains, and then it's sunny at 4. This is what Hawaii is about.
And it can even vary side to side. It's like where I was staying up north, if it was rainy, you can drive 15 minutes south and it would always be a sunny day. In fact, there was almost permanent rainbow. So you could go from Hawaii down to Kapa'a Park and you'd look back and there is a permanent rainbow there. You just turn around and it would be there pretty much all afternoon. It was kind of
well, for anybody listening who's interested in Pachamama's birthday, yesterday from the center, I actually streamed the building of a Pachamama Raimi Despacho. I'll post a link. It's actually on the Sonic Shaman YouTube channel. So if anybody's interested in having a little taste of ceremony and honoring our beloved Mother Earth's birthday, I'll post a link and you can check that out. But I wanted to bring up this. This is the transiting planets, and we always have a little bit of star talk towards the beginning of our show, and then we also like to make sure that if you have any questions, comments, if there's something that you want us to speak on, feel free to make comments and we'll be happy to go down whatever rabbit hole people want us to go down. So tell us what's going on with these stars today.
While you're doing the astrology, I'm going to look up the pictures and send you the pictures from a few of the places I was at on Hawaii.
Sounds good. Do you want me to remove you from the stream for that, or are you good with being on?
Either way.
Okay.
I mean, you can put my picture aside or
just give me a little signal when you're ready to come back on, and I'll bring you on here.
Okay.
All right.
I want to take where you left off with the Pachamama, because we have something also very special with the full moon and this month. We have this thing called Sirius at heliacal rise. So Sirius is the closest to the earth, to the sun, to the earth right now. But it is called the Lion's Gate. It's a 8.888 Lion's Gate, we call it. And what that is the place And that's also celebrated in South America mostly, where it is, they call where the place where the sun was born. And they call that the 8-8 Lion's Gate. And it's very powerful right now because it's connected to the galactic center. So the galactic center is 28, to the 27, 28 of Sagittarius. And it's really close. It's making a beautiful trine like that. So we have these open gates. So when I talk to my friend and I tell them this unbelievable magic timing that has happened to me, and they go, I had the exact same thing, but with a chimpanzee, while you had it with a peacock. But it's the same energy, same. Or his was the birds and mine was the bird, where at the same time that his bird was knocking on his car glass window, on the mirror, and he kept seeing his face on the mirror, and he kept knocking its face because it thought that he was playing with another bird. At the same time, in my house, within 10 minutes, I have birds that I feed every day. So this bird is red bird, and his bird was a red bird. How you like that? This red bird, right? Just kept knocking on my glass window and I keep come out, and he keeps hitting himself on the glass window. And we exchanged those stories, and then there was two more stories like that. So what I'm trying to say is, when the gates, this is a moment where the I am is very strong. The I am flame, because we have Mars in his full power. It can't be in any more power. Not only it's in Aries, but it's going to be 6 months in Aries. It happens, I think, once every 300 years. I could be wrong, but it happens that very little, okay? And now you have this beautiful Mars energy, okay, right? Well, you got it right here. It's hard to see. What degree is that? 20?
Yeah, 20 degrees. And
20
I'll
degrees.
circle. Here's Mars for everybody.
Right. And then you had, of course, the moon right there. That was in Aquarius on Sunday and Monday. So, but mainly the sun is
And the sun's all the way at the bottom for people that it's kind of cut off, but the sun
right
is
here.
all the way
Yeah,
at the
I'm
bottom.
showing it with my thing if you can see it. So you have this triple flame of the I am. So this, what does that mean? So it's our time for us to feel that we are all we can be and not doubt ourselves. Of course, the more we think this way, the more doubt is all around us. But we have to just get our sword of blue light, the sword of Michael, and just zip through all those doubts, no matter what. Even if we have to drag ourselves to get out of those spaces, or just remember, faith, jump in, faith. So we all are right now. This is so beautiful. So beautiful. Today, is that a Pisces moon today, right?
Yeah, but it was 0 degrees Pisces. And we had a question from Luna. She was first just asking, is this, from the way the chart looks, one, that it was beautiful, and she was asking if the chart is balanced. And then when you were mentioning Aries, she was asking Aries 6 months. So I'm not sure for sure the question, but I just want to bring up her comments in case you could speak more to it.
What I meant by Mars normally stays in a sign maximum 2 months, 2.5 months. But it's going to go his normal route, and then it's going to retrograde. And so the retrograde is going to take another 2 months. And then because it stations, it makes things even slower. And then by the time it stations again and goes back direct, it's going to be in Aries 6 months. So wherever you have Mars in your chart, that means whatever house you have Mars in your chart, you're going to be dealing with that energy for 6 months. How to assert yourself, how to take a stand, how to become the I am and make full on use of the I am. Because now it's still, Mars is still the best it could be, because it's helping us to stand up and be counted. Okay? We have that power behind us through him, through Mars now. But once it's going to go retrograde, and there's going to be 6 more other planet retrograde, it's not going to be in his same moving energies. In other words, whatever we're not doing that is at one with our mission, with our soul, with our unification, with infinity, okay, we're going to have to come back to the little woman, the little man within us, and take it from there and move slow and grow up again and go back and correct and use more strength, strengthen our voice, strengthen our health. Mars is the strength. Mars is our power. Mars represents the force. So we have these 6 months to become Superman and Superwoman. Let's put it that way.
And she was asking then, is Aries, does it sound difficult? And with astrology, keep in mind that there's always skilled and unskilled applications for all the energies. So it's depending on how you go about, working with your own energies and everything. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be difficult. It depends how aware you are. And if you choose to react through the energies or respond through the energies is really what makes the difference with that.
Right. And the fact that we have what we call the aspects. So Mars is going to square Jupiter. Actually, today it's squaring Jupiter. It's like Mars in Aries on the 4th, which is today.
Actually, it's squaring the entire conjunction. If you can see it. Oh, am I in the right spot? I need to go to snap.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm going to just circle it. Where you see these little squares here, it's actually that Mars is squaring all 3 of these planets.
But today, specifically Jupiter. Yeah. Okay. And so, what does that mean? So it's up to, like Luna, even if you have Mars in Aries and you feel strong about it, but how are the other planets in your chart? Where are they standing? Are they in a trine, means in a flowing harmoniously, or are they in a square? So when you look at your chart, look for those little squares that Hank has, highlighted. So you will be able to tell if it is a workout for you, or if it is something that's going to make your life easier. And if it makes your life easier, you better seize that opportunity, because sometimes when the life is easy, we just don't do much with it, especially if it is Mars and Jupiter. We're not going to do too much with it because we just have fun. So if you think you're building something, you're changing life, you're moving, you're doing something much more bigger than what you can do right now, then take advantage if it is a trine. Again, Mars is going to, in your chart, is going to talk to Neptune, is going to talk to the moon, is going to talk to all these other planets before you can finalize how you are using its energy. And like Hank said, is it going to be for your benefit, or is it going to be a workout for you?
Yeah. And she was saying that she feels it might be fueling the positive already, hopefully. And Nanette, it is in Peru anyway. August 1st or August 4th is Pachamama Boroimi. It's Mother Earth's birthday. So you could think of it as Earth Day, and we celebrate it during those 4 days and do a lot of different ceremonies, including despachos. And I posted a link to a despacho I did yesterday if you're interested in seeing a ceremony. But yeah, and we'll talk more about Pachamama maybe a little bit later too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'll bring up the picture of the despacho that we finished.
Mama.
Yeah, Pachamama.
I had a girlfriend that was her name, Pachamama.
It's a great name.
Yes. I do want to talk a little bit more about Mars squaring Jupiter, because so you have Mars like rugged independence, okay? Pretty much that's what the best description of it. And then you have Jupiter in Capricorn. So we're talking here about traditions. We're talking about the government. We're talking about what's going on with the field. So are we going to wear a mask, or we're not going to wear a mask? Are we going to choose our freedom of choice, but yet take consistent action? So I'm going to repeat that. Freedom of choice with Mars, okay? Mars in Aries. And freedom of choice, what helps also is Venus in Gemini. Because that Gemini energy and the nodes, the Gemini and the Sagittarius, that's freedom of choice, freedom of speech, okay? So are we going to have our freedom of choice, but we need to still take action, because we need to remember the way that we're going to feed our souls is going to be for us to be tribal, community. So no matter what Mars is doing, it's really helping this beginning of accepting to deal with the big three musketeers, so they can go through the sovereignty of the king's son, okay? And what that means is Mars, when it deals with Capricorn, it surrenders, because Capricorn is the final yes or no, no matter how Mars is big. So here with the sun in and the Sirius and the 8-8 the Lion's Gate and close to the galactic center. So what's going on? This is a big time. 5 time. Yeah, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Time in history. So that's what we have to constantly remember. You know, even though we fall into the little me, we got to do whatever we can. Use that rugged, what did I call it? The rugged independence to wear our blue flame, our I am fiery, and just go. Just keep going, because we will be guided. Because Neptune in Pisces also squaring, trining Jupiter, or sextiling Jupiter, more sextiling Jupiter. The field of dreams is open. The field of dream is activated. Spirit is on our side no matter what. It's really hard. But as we are becoming this big spiritual family, there's a lot of the family, the ohana from the sky, I would call it.
And I'm doing a rectangle around Neptune. So if you're not familiar with the symbols, the rectangle here, that's Neptune. And the sextile that she's talking about are these little star figures here.
Yes, so it's trining all these. And so no matter what, we are being backed up by our ancestors, by those who created the path, those who knew that these too shall pass. These two shall come and these two shall pass. This was written. I mean, Nostradamus talked about this time. I know about this time since 71. I know everything that I'm saying. I didn't have to learn it today. My teacher, who was a seer, he already told us about this time. He used to say this funny word, such a funny word. Oh, I hate to say it, but it fits so amazing. He used to say
Okay, I'm
when
back.
the CHIT, okay, hits the fan. He never swore, but he would say that because of these times. He
Well, and
said,
it's not a bad word anyway. It's an acronym. I think we said it on the show before, but it means spiritual human in transition. Shit, it's an
okay,
acronym.
thank you. I can't say, no matter how much you forced me yesterday as I spoke at this big thing, I couldn't say it, neither I. So, but I mean, the picture is magnificent. It's like that dirty word, but it creates the biggest picture we can see. So what do? You prepare. What can you prepare beside yourself? Nada. Absolutely nada. If you don't prepare yourself, how can you even go to eat or go to sleep? And so this is it. The Mars 6 month in Aries is giving us the power to prepare for it, but to remember we are at war with the past, not the future. We are at war with the past. We have to win the war of the past. That was beautiful. Okay.
Very good.
Yeah, that was wow. Haven't heard any astrologer bring that. We're at war with the past, and we gotta let it go. We gotta say goodbye. Thank you. But now I gotta move on. I have this new adventure. The golden age is calling me, and I have to go and tell all my people, follow me. It's time to move on. It's time to uh, enter the what do you call the land, the Holy Land? No, how did they call it in the Bible when they crossed the river?
Oh, the Promised Land, I think.
The Promised
Maybe.
Land. We're going to the Promised Land. By the way, the Golden Age. It only happens for once in 26,000 years, and it's 2,500 years of gold. So as we write those notes on every glass windows of our home, then make it like to remember where we're going. That's where we're going.
And one thing for everybody too, how you were saying to let go of the past, it's also equally important not to get caught up with the future having to be a certain way, because a lot of kids growing up is a great example. They always figure I'm where I'm at now, but yeah, man, once I'm in middle school, then that's where it's at. And then once I'm in high school, and then once I'm in college, and you can fragment yourself either by living in the past or by waiting for the future. It's all about living the todays, which is one thing in the Hawaiian language before it got modernized when it was discovered. If I remember correctly, there was no future or past tense. It was only now. And so that's cherish your yesterdays, dream your tomorrows, but live your todays, and don't get fragmented one way or the other, and show up for your experience.
I agree with you. And that's how we used to think. But the way things are moving now, we're going to be stopped every minute to think just now. It's just there's no other way.
Yeah.
So I kind of love that.
So now I got pictures up from Brian, and let me just make sure. Oh, and Luna was saying that it was a beautiful insight with the astrology. So thank you very much for your comment, Luna.
You.
And so, Brian, am I starting at the right side? This is what came through me as the first picture, or should I be starting from the other side?
I mean, either way. This is towards the end of my adventure there in Kauai. I was going to a sacred cave. Maka, it's a Hawaiian name, and I cannot remember, but it was a giant cave there. And it was absolutely beautiful. unfortunately, the cave was closed off.
Well, since when does that stop you?
Well, they had people there.
All right.
Yeah.
That would be
believe
very
me,
un-Brian-like, because we've been to places where we weren't supposed to do stuff and we did it anyway. So I'm just a little surprised, that's all. But I get it. If there's people there, you don't want to get another ticket.
Yeah, well, I don't think I would have got a ticket, but I
I'm
didn't
being
feel like.
facetious.
Yeah.
And what about this one?
So that is like on the top of the rock where the cave was. So this is directly above the cave looking out. So it's kind of like this big rocky hill or small mountain, and that's looking out over the valley next to it.
And was there a reason they had the clay closed off, or just kind of
on Kauai, they're closing down a lot of the sacred sites. In fact, I tried to go to the Blue Room in Hawaii, or on Kauai, and they had that shut down. They said, because the mudslides, the bacteria was high, or the water was cloudy, or there's rocks falling, or they came up with all these excuses why they had it closed down, but really they don't want people going to these sacred places. So I come to find out that there is a caretaker that shoos people out of it. So remember that tree in the heiau I showed you last week? Well, you're not even allowed to make it that far. I didn't realize, but there's someone that chases you out of there. They live in that area, in that like sacred space there, and they will chase you off if you come into that area.
Oh,
and
you got
yeah, no. I went in, quiet. Well, when I'm in nature, I'm really quiet, and energetically, I kind of shield myself and hide myself. I guess it worked, and he had no idea I was there.
Yeah, and for anybody who missed that episode, definitely one to catch. If you go back to the last Midnight Meanderings, which would have been 2 weeks ago, there was some amazing pictures, and we actually did a ceremony to connect with it. And then towards the end, we did an Aini Karpai ceremony. So if you want to get some really cool energetic transmissions from some sacred sites, catch the episode that we did last time. So let me go to the pictures again. Another beach. You always see the pictures of beaches.
Right in front of the cave.
And look at those waves.
Yeah, it's just absolutely gorgeous there. And every view, that beach surrounds Kauai. There's tons and tons and tons of beaches like that in Kauai. It's absolutely.
And if I remember right, in Hawaii, like all the beaches, you have to, like, people have to be able to access it. You can't have like a property like right on the beach. So even like big mansions or rich celebrities or whatever, you could be walking on the beach right in front of their property. The beach has to be accessible have it correct.
That is the law. Yep.
Yeah. Too bad they didn't do that with more places around the world, right? But anyway, what is this, a particular sacred apu? No, apu is a masculine nature spirit.
No, that's just by the cave. I mean, like Ryan was saying, I was hoping to get him on the show soon, but I'll have him come on. He is the guy who showed me around. Okay, this is actually a heiau. It is in Lidgate Park, right by a sacred river, where they say a shark man was. But Ryan was saying I asked, can you take me to the sacred sites? And he's like, everywhere in Hawaii is sacred. Everywhere on Oahu is sacred. So he understood what I was saying. But every area has a different nature spirit, a different god, a different energy being in that area. Each area is a different vortex, a different energy. So that mountain you saw was the sacred mountain. I don't know the significance of it, but it is a very powerful energy site. So if you go there and did energy work with it, you'd have a very powerful experience. Pretty much the whole time I was on Kauai, I felt amazing. When I came back to the big island, it was like I had a hangover from hell. It felt like my head was going to explode. Especially on the east side of the island, the energy just does not agree with me. It is, and now go up over Mauna Kea, up to the north, which used to be attached to Kauai. so it has the same soil, completely different energy. I feel good up there. But anytime I come back to the east side, it's really tough on me energetically. So when
Need
I
an
got
energetic transformer, maybe, so you can acclimate easier one way or the other.
when I first came to the island, for about a month, I had vertigo, and then because of fog, I had pneumonia. So it was really bad. I was so sick when I originally came here back in October. So then I left the island. I was dealing with headaches, but I thought it was stress. But I'd go to the other side and I'd feel great. I'd come back to this side and the headaches would come right back, like migraine type headaches. That explains that's right by the Heiau that I just showed you. So I came back to the island and I've had constant headaches since, like a migraine. But it's calmed down a little bit from when I first got here. I had that vertigo started and everything as soon as I put feet on this island. That Heiau you saw was, I believe, to the shark deity. And on that island, they talk about a lot of beings that can shapeshift. So there is a man that could go into a shark. So if you met this man and, he asked you where you're going, and the correct answer was just passing through. But some people, the legend says, if you said, I'm going fishing, he would then jump in the river, turn back into a shark, and go and eat you. So it's pretty interesting.
Very.
And that's not the only shapeshifter demigod on the island. There's the Pua Man, and I forgot who.
Kind of reminds me of, did you see the Disney cartoon Moana? There was Maui who would shapeshift into different things with his magic hook or whatnot.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. So that's a very big thing in their culture. So I know someone who was living on Kauai for quite a while, and she saw a pig man. It was, the sidewalk rolls up really early in the island. So as soon as the sun sets, pretty much everybody's heading to bed. Well, she was working at, I believe, a bar. And come around 11:30, she's driving home in the far north of Kauai. And there was a pig man crouched over, it looked like a dead chicken in the road, and it was eating it. It stood up, and it had the face of a pig, and she said fangs, but blood was coming down from eating this chicken raw in the middle of the road. It stood up and then ran off.
Yeah.
So I asked so when I was trying to go to the Blue Room, they're getting ready for the hurricane to close down. Everything was getting closed down for the hurricane. So I just wanted to see the Blue Room. I went there, and it was like a park employee. She goes, "Oh no, the trail's closed. You can't go." I'm like, "Well, that's okay. I didn't want to go on the trail. I like walking into the canyons. I just wanted to go to the Blue Room." She's like, "Oh no, that's closed." And then I'm like, "Well, I just wanted to experience." She's like, "You can get some good pictures on the beach." And then I'm like, "Well, I was looking for the spiritual, the energy. I wanted to feel the energy of the Blue Room and feel the activation." And then she kind of goes, "Well, a lot of foreigners take their magic here, and we don't like that. We have to clean out their magic after they come around." And I'm like, "Well, no, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes here. I respect the nature spirits of the land." And once we had a conversation, she actually gave me some really amazing and great information. She said, filled me in about the pig people. So she confirmed that, yes, in fact, what that my friend saw, the pig man, that is that's just something that the locals know about. It's not like mythology or legend that they, no, they know they're there. They know they're shapeshifters. And she's talking that the pig men can turn into an actual man. And so that, I believe, is at Lidgate Park. The picture's right there.
Okay.
So I got some really cool information. So unlike in the Peruvian tradition where you offer coca leaves, that's a lookout. I just absolutely love it. So you see the fields down there in the valley. Those are taro or kalo, the Hawaiians. And that's a huge staple food for the Hawaiian people.
I'm just going back. We use coca leaf in Peru. What's the correlation for Hawaii?
So, in Peru, they use coca leaf. In North America, typically they use tobacco. sometimes cedar, sometimes sage as offering. But in the Hawaiian, she's saying, I told her that I did ceremony in this cave, which you're going to see in just a second. And I had this amazing, mind-blowing experience. I don't want to say she chided me, but she cautioned me about knowing more, not just kind of going and doing ceremony at these places, but you need to know more, and you need to know the Hawaiian. She said, you really need to learn Hawaiian if you're going to be doing this stuff in Hawaii, because the names mean things. And the name will give you a clue about who the nature spirit is or the god that these places are controlled by. And each one has a different specific offering that you give. So tobacco is not necessarily what you would give the one deity or entity or nature spirit. So each one wants a different offering. So that was something that you kind of like, oh, okay. So it was really asking, who am I working with, and what can I gift you that would be a heartfelt gift that you'd appreciate.
And
so
just
that was
one little thing too, there's a difference between tapping into an offering to the power of an entity versus the personality. The personality of entity, if you're tapping it on that level, very much that matters, like what kind of things you get. Like if I work with the African Orishas, for example, and there's certain ones that you give rum and there's certain ones that you give coffee. But and that's dealing with the personality of the entity. But if the power of the entity doesn't care, any offering may do. But it's definitely a nice thing to learn the language and cater it a little bit more. But point of view creates reality. And if you don't have the right offering, it's not like the entity is necessarily going to smite you or anything like that.
Well, now it can have some negative consequences. Like with Carlo at his lodge, he goes, you can offer tobacco, you can offer sage in the fire for the lodge. He goes, do not put cedar in. Like, do not. Really bad consequences will happen. And so then later in conversation, I asked him, so what would happen if you put cedar into the fire? And he goes, well, in the Thunder Lodge, he says that it would bring torrential rain, like weeks of torrential rain. So in other areas like the Pacific Northwest, it's more than appreciated as an offering. And if you need rain and you want to bring rain, cedar would be. So I don't understand the minute details of why it was, but he really kind of cautioned me on what you offer, and then kind of having that reiterated in a different way on the Hawaiian Islands.
Let me put it a different way with the point that I'm making. In the Southern tradition, there's different levels of the priesthood. The Pampa Messiah, for example, is a third level Andean priest. And in that tradition, if you don't do everything exactly right, have the right offering, have the things in the correct places in the despacho, the Apus punish you. An Alta Messiah doing the exact same despacho could put everything 100% backwards, use the wrong ingredients, and still get the intended effect. The difference is one's dealing with personality and the dogma, and one is not. One's dealing with pure source where it doesn't matter. And so by that, I mean, yes, it matters, but at the same time, it doesn't. But depending where you're working at, maybe it's better safe than sorry.
You can use the power of the spirit of the place. So I was right there, and there's this minister is doing food. What do you call this? Food touch, where you hold something and he checks you, and then if you're allergic to certain food allergy, that technique of food allergy.
Muscle testing, yes.
Muscle testing, merci. So I'm right there in church. There's 500 people, and he invites somebody from the room, and he says, okay, here's a whole bunch of food, whole bunch of seeds and nuts and seeds. Which one are you allergic to? And she says, oh, that one. Okay. So he said, okay, put it in your hand, and he tastes him, and right away he fails because he was very allergic to it. Then he puts it back again, puts back the same seed, and then everybody prays for him. And the minister with a hammer tried to undo his arm. No way. So no matter what, this I learned, and this is like, that's like, okay, it's a very visual, that's why I'm bringing it. But no matter where you are today, you have to remember that you are the sovereign of that place. If you come from the spirit of love and humility and respect for the land, you're going to bring that spirit into the land. You can heal that land. If that land is sick, you will heal it. And this is what the Aquarian Age is about. It's the sixth vibration, the sixth sense. And this is what we are actually, when I say the gates are open, this is what we are receiving. We are receiving a downpour of this energy that unites us with the infinity. We are the children of infinity, so we are part of the infinity. And a little land and cedar are just little tiny, minuscule cells when you think of everything, if you embrace the power of everything. But it's good to respect. If the Hawaiian says it's better not to burn cedar here, I would listen to that. Maybe there is some kind of wood there that if you burn cedar, you could burn the whole thing. So it's good to find out why. I'm not saying disrespect, but I'm just saying, yeah.
I found why you really respect the kapu. And that's like sacred law or, things you don't break. And you don't want to break kapu. If they have a sign up saying kapu, stay out, you don't go to these sacred places because oftentimes they put energetic landmines.
I agree.
Black magic is used here. There are serious negative consequences. So even as, coming from a place of, bringing in source energy or the energy of the creator and working with pure spirit in the Alto Messiah, you still, I don't want to say tiptoe, but you need to respect the traditions of the land.
Absolutely.
Very much, especially because it's not even the spirit. Like, okay, keep going through the pictures. Get to what the case.
I just wanted to bring up Luna's comment. She was just saying learning the language can help guide so many elements. Honor is important. Wise tip. Okay, let me get the next picture here. Ooh.
Yeah. That's Hanalei Bay. Hanalei Bay is where one of the major ley lines intersect Kauai. So that's a very powerful energetic place and absolutely beautiful. That's where I tried to broadcast from last week when we couldn't broadcast. That is I forget the name of it, but it's a spiral palm that they make their mats out of. It's really cool.
Very cool. Yeah, last week I was working with my teacher, and he lives in like this remote area up on this ridge and has like satellite internet. And if a cloud goes past it, internet drops out. So I didn't get the email that he was trying to log in until like 20 minutes after we would have started. So anyway.
That is the Kalo field. It's grown, sometimes grown in water.
A what field?
Kalo.
It's
a potato. It's a root of a plant, but it's not in the nightshade family. And it's almost like sticky or chewy. So if you can cook it up like mashed potatoes, or you can mash it and add water, and it's kind of this like sauce that they call poi.
Yeah, and Lou was just saying spectacular natural beauty. I agree. These are amazing. I always love it. All the pictures that he sends.
The Big Island is epic, especially when you cross the mountain and you're in that mountain pass and you just see this giant bay opening up. It's absolutely epic, or the Hamakua Coast. But Kauai was just absolutely breathtaking. It was amazing. The energy was amazing. That's the secret beach. So there's the secret beach. You kind of walk down this path in between houses. There's some really big, fancy houses, but there's this little path between them. Big fences on both sides, but you walk down this path through kind of a rainforest jungle to get there, and it is just absolutely beautiful.
Oh, there's another one. Got a couple good pictures of that. Uh-oh.
Oh,
that was when Brian was
Oh,
trying to log in earlier. It didn't work. Okay. The colors are actually stunning.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, it is like that. These are unenhanced pictures. This is directly from my phone to you. And I don't even think it captured the vividity of the color.
You know, I got a chance to experience this a little bit yesterday. I had messaged Brian earlier that last night I had this dream where in this dream, like it only took like 20 minutes to fly to Hawaii. And like 2 times in one day, I just like flew out there and like was hanging out with you doing shaman shenanigans. And it was just like being there for real. It was amazing.
You got to come visit.
Oh, no, the other
You're
way.
invited.
No, I was going the right way. I'm just. That's so random.
That was
those
actually a poster I'm working on. That poster you saw. Trying to look at the really small pictures through my phone. It's hard.
I'm trying. I don't even see like when I'm looking at the pictures you sent. I don't see those ones that just came up like that error message and stuff. That's so odd that would come up. That's so crazy.
Clicking through them. Oh, yeah, there's a coconut on the beach. There's this one beach, again, an absolute beautiful white sand beach, and there's tons of coconuts just laying there. They're dropping off, and they're the coconuts that are really easy to cut open. They have a very soft shell, and the husk is easy, so you just take the machete, chop right through it. I filled a whole gallon jug of coconut water and drank that for the next 2 days.
That's interesting.
That was, I believe, at Anini Beach right there.
Is this when the hurricane was starting to get close? I see.
Yeah,
all the
some
clouds.
of them that look stormy are from the hurricane time.
And this is where you went to escape the hurricane, isn't it?
Yeah, that is from the leeward edge of the canyon, Waimea Canyon. Just absolutely stunning up there. Yeah, that's I was cooking dinner. That was the hurricane. So I had a little Pernod can and a stainless steel canteen cup, and I was cooking rice and beans.
Simple life of Brian.
Yet it was still awesome tasting.
Wow, look at that sunset. At least I assume that's a sunset. Yeah.
Yes, that's sunset. And in that area, that looks so much like Australia. The red dirt, the eucalypt trees, the acacia trees, the tea trees.
But not nearly as many things.
That's when the storm was rolling in. So do you see how the canyon on the other side is filling up with the clouds and the rain? Yeah. That is it kind of pouring over the edge of the mountain, the first mountain.
One of those mountains almost looks like a little pyramid in the mist there. That's kind of cool.
There's a lot of places. So Keone was telling me if you really want to find the secret places, go up the rivers. Just grab your pack, grab a kayak or something, paddle as far as you can, walk the rest of the way in, and that is where you will find the secret places. And on the other side of the canyon, there from the north end of the road to the far west end of the road where the roads end, there are valleys and canyons. And there's prehistoric species in there. They talk about the thunderbird. And the friend that was telling me about the pigman on Kauai told me about the thunderbirds there and prehistoric birds and dinosaurs in these canyons. And I asked that one woman that was working at the park, and that gave me all that great spiritual information. And she said, oh yeah, they're there. They're there in the canyon. I'm like, wow. So it's just really wild to see what it's amazing. So yeah, that's just beautiful. Okay, so that's where I weathered the hurricane. Last picture.
Oh, here?
Yeah, so that little canopy, surrounded by eucalyptus trees, and I was underneath that canopy. The trees and being down on the other side of the valley, or the mountain tucked into this like little cove, it stopped the wind and the trees stopped the rest of the wind. So it was just rain coming down hard. So I was underneath the canopy and I stayed dry.
Cool. So you did actually get some rain where you were at. Okay.
Yeah. So what happened was the storm is spinning. So it spun back around and some of it came and got me from that side.
Came and got you. Oh, let's see.
That's back at the start. That's back by the one cave.
Oh, well, maybe I should just start at that machete picture and go backwards then.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the beach where I got those coconuts.
Because we didn't see the cave you were referring to yet.
Yeah. Oh, keep going. Yeah, that's Secret Beach still, I believe. Yeah. That beach was amazing. Swam in those tide pools and it was just,
oh, look at that. So awesome.
Yeah, that is on the Nepali coast. So that's Mount Wiley Island. So I did ceremony on the top of Mount Wiley Island too. And that was powerful. Very powerful. That's ginger. It grows everywhere in Hawaii. You can actually eat it.
You can eat it. It's sweet. You suck on it, actually.
Oh, that kind of reminds me of Arizona with the redness, so the rock a little bit.
Yeah. It was kind of like the Grand Canyon, kind of like the Painted Desert, kind of like Australia. It's absolutely beautiful.
Can't believe you're almost there for a year already, just a couple more months.
Yeah, I can't believe I left Ohio almost 2 years ago. I can't believe that. So it's trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. Yeah, you see the long leaf tree there? That was an acacia. So the acacia actually contains DMT.
Well, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. So that mountain, when you go that way, it is, I forget the name of the park, but there's the place where the souls exit the world. Like that Heiau I showed you is where and portal, that's where the souls enter the world. That's where the souls leave the world on that side. But I had to go down a really crazy dirt road, and the car I was driving would not have made it. Giant ruts, and it would have bottomed out. And it just was not possible to go any further.
I get it. Sometimes you gotta be smart about that.
Yeah.
When we were in Alaska, we rented a mobile home around all kinds of mountain passes that we had no business being on with that thing. In fact, there was even a disclosure saying we wouldn't take this on those roads, and we did it anyway. It was probably not good we did that.
Oh, what? That is cool. That's a salt flat. So they have this baked clay salt. It's sea salt with that clay. They bake the clay and the sea salt. So it actually, if you have like pink Himalayan salt here, it'll absorb moisture and kind of turn into the liquid salt. Just kind of clump up and get really hard. But the baked clay will not. And that is where they make it, from that red volcanic clay that has lots and lots of minerals and monatomics in it.
So that's where the Hawaiian salt comes from if you get that in the store.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's it right there. So that's the bay right next to it. Absolutely beautiful. Like every turn in the road was just this new beautiful view in Hawaii.
Should, when I have you send the kids a package, I'll give you some money for sending some of those salts and stuff too.
Yeah, definitely.
We need to do that soon. He still looks in the mailbox every single day. It's
yeah, I'll definitely get some stuff out.
I mean, just to bring everybody up to speed, my kids they still do the whole Santa Claus thing, and they believe that Santa is chilling out at Hawaii for the summer, and they're expecting a package from Santa from Hawaii, and Brian is going to play Santa Claus. So, oh, I'm on the wrong way. There we go.
So that's another little canyon. That's kind of more towards the coast in the end of Waimea Canyon, but just beautiful. I mean, every vista was breathtaking there.
Man, the island is a lot bigger. Like just in my head, I think I was thinking it was a lot smaller than it is. It's way bigger than I thought.
I mean, yes and no. It's small. You can drive from basically the bottom of the canyon road, Waimea, all the way up to Princetown in give or take about an hour, 45 minutes. But to go from the park at the end of Princetown all the way to the top of the canyon in Mount Wiley Eiley, that takes about 2 hours to drive all the way around the island from extreme to extreme. And you're only like 5 or 10 miles from the other side of the island at that point in time, but you have to hike through all these mountain passes.
So, what was significant about this picture that caught your attention?
Oh, there was like a little cave with a tunnel. That was on the top of Mount Wiley Eiley, and the climb up there. And so that I just felt like there is some door or portal or something used that as a home.
Interesting.
And if that I can see that correctly, that was the climb of Mount Wiley Eiley looked and kind of felt like the climb up Willumbin through a tropical rainforest. However, when you get to the top of Mount Wiley Eiley, it is solid red clay. And it is one of the wettest places in the world. I think it had over 400 inches of rain in a year. So to climb that clay, it gets super slippery. So it was a whole new challenge. Mount Willumbin is an almost vertical climb to the top at the end. They have chains there, and you kind of pull your chains on the chains up or climb the rock. But yeah, that's the trail over to Mount Wiley Eiley. That's on the interior view, I believe, like looking in the island. So slippery and wet that stuff was.
I remember just at Serpent Mountain, I was sliding all over the place. I can't imagine that.
Oh, yeah. So that is that valley we saw.
Oh, I love this picture with that little ray of light coming down. Yeah.
It was so powerful. I did ceremony on the top of there as the sun set. And I actually put a crystal in, a Lemurian crystal, at the top of Mount Wiley Eiley and in the cave as well.
Very nice. Another great sun picture.
Yeah.
Oh no, that one's my favorite. I love it when you get those little ray effects in the pictures.
It's beautiful.
It was absolutely surreal.
That's cool too. Where is this cave, Brian?
It's coming up. That's all. Well, that's the lookout again.
Ooh, that's a cool little tree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Little bridge.
Yeah, that's down by the Kahlo field.
Cool little bird on the post there. It says area is closed.
That is actually Kahlo.
That's Kahlo? Okay.
Yeah. Go one further. So that is actually the Kahlo plant. And some of these plants are hundreds upon hundreds of years old. So what you do when you harvest it, you cut the top off and you replant the top.
Kind of like
so
cloning?
Yeah, basically kind of like cloning. So the plant grows a new corm, is what they call it. But it's like a giant potato. So then you cut it off and replant it. So some of those plants are literally hundreds upon hundreds of years old.
Pretty cool. There. Is that the cave?
Yes, that's the cave.
It was worth the wait. Whoa, cool.
So I started the ceremony in that cave. I didn't, to be respectful, there was a sign that said Kapu as you're entering the cave. Do not touch the rock. And, so at that, I didn't take the camera in with, I left it behind, just to be to not disrespect anything. But I did ceremony in there. And it was big enough where I could, when I started the ceremony, I blew the shell. And usually that's what I do, because the shell in multiple cultures is calling in divinity. Even the shofar in the Hebrew tradition is calling in the energy of God, the power of God. So by blowing my shell in there, I call in divinity. But when I first started blowing that shell, everything dropped out. Everything physical dropped out, and all I could see around me was the energy. And I'm like, whoa. And I was not on any sort of psychedelics. I did not take any sort of sacred plants. It dropped me.
No kidding.
Yeah, no, like legitly, I was driving and I didn't know how long I was going to be in there. So I didn't take any plants. I didn't work with any plants. And I dropped into journey space almost instantly as soon as I blew the shell. And I'm like, whoa. So I kind of like paused for a second and regained my bearings because I was afraid I was going to fall over and drop the shell, or I had no idea what was going on.
And just catching up on comments here, I was on another screen, so I didn't see them come through. But Luna, when I was talking about the dreams, that she adores those dreams when they're all vivid and you get to be really aware of it. And then she was mentioning that it's amazing that you made the hike. I assume that was probably in reference to the clay. And then she was also referencing pineapple too, probably when you were talking about the
the top. You cut off the top.
Yeah. Okay.
So then I did the bull roar, and I kind of didn't have direction. So I did a similar ceremony at the top of Mount Wiley Island. So I did the shell, I did the bull roar, I started to bless the tobacco just like we blessed the coca leaf. And then when I was blowing the intentions into it, I just kind of like knelt down and prayed and prayed and prayed. Asked for answers, asked Source, the Creator, I asked the spirits of the cave, the ancestors, any beings of light, give me some direction. And after that, almost immediately, I got some answers. It was amazing.
Very good. And did you redo your recapitulation exercise from the Hatan Karpai?
I didn't even think to do that. What I did, I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. I then put that offering down. And I set up kind of like a little mesa in there, and I put that down on the stone where I had that all set up. And then I laid down and I went into this deep journey space. It was like I had taken a heavy dose of mushrooms or some other strong psychedelic. I was definitely outside the body, and I got a lot of answers, a lot of explanations, and it was a very powerful experience. I was like shocked. So, I mean, this was, I believe, the day after I went to the place where the souls enter the world. So right after I showed you that tree and everything, I then went to this cave and had another powerful experience. The cave there. Yeah, a little bit bigger shot of it. It was this amazing experience. So then after I came back from the journey, I was sitting there kind of still in journey space, meditating, playing my flute. And I did that for quite a while. And this group walked in. And I can only imagine, when you get in that cave, it's actually pitch black. When it goes in so far, it is completely dark in there. So I'm in this dark corner, far from the entrance, and they come in, and here I am playing the flute. And I'm thinking to myself, man, they got to be freaked out. Hearing this like spirit sounding flute in the background. I'm like, do I go over there and tell them what I'm doing and, invite them? And I kind of strongly felt that, but I'm like, you know what, I'm doing my thing here. I'll just let it go. So I went to the beach out in front of this, which I think in a couple pictures you'll see.
All right.
And they found me. Yeah, that beach right there. So that mountain right there is where the cave is in. It's also, that's the dry cave. I forget the name of it, the Hawaiian name of it. But right on the other side of the mountain is the wet cave, the blue room. So it has these amazing blue waters, or supposedly it used to have these amazing blue waters. You dive under the water and come up into a cave inside the mountain, which is dry. And supposedly that's cool. Another dimension. So you hold your breath as you go down in the cave, you come up in this other cave, and it's a different dimension. Now, the woman I talked to that warned me away from it said that the mo'o, if you don't have permission to be there, the mo'o or the reptilians or the, basically reptilians of the waterways will drown you. And in this little calm cave, lots of people drowned there. I mean, these spirits, if if they're peeved at you, they will kill you. That's why you really have to be careful in Hawaii not to disrespect land. Ryan, when I was in Oahu, showed me, I wish I could remember his name, Kua something, but it was the Pigman King, his palace, and it was this valley that you do not go into. And if you go in there, you'll probably die. A lot of people go in there and have boulders hurled on them by the pigs. And there is no getting them out. There's bodies entombed in that valley. So that is a cool mushroom. So when I was in Oahu, Ryan showed me it. It is a jelly mushroom.
Interesting.
It has the same mouthfeel and texture as a rice noodle. It's like a cold rice noodle, and you can eat it and chew it. It is a very strong nootropic. You eat it, and it gives you this laser focus, kind of like lion's mane.
Interesting.
So that pipe we saw coming out of the mountain, that was a spring that was coming directly out of the mountain. And I filled up my water jugs there, and it was amazing. The water was so good. So that group I met on the beach, they go, "Oh, was that you playing the flute?" And yeah, that was me. And oh, that's so cool. And then we kind of just went our own way. Then when I went up to Waimea Canyon and was at the lookout, I ran into them again. So they recognized me immediately, and they're like, "Oh, it's you, the flute man." I'm like, "Yeah," so we introduced, and they're from Maui. They were on Hawaii, kind of on vacation exploring, and they wanted to know more about the spiritual stuff. So I ended up doing an Aini Karpai for each one of them, and kind of a little short energy healing with the tuning fork, the koshi chimes, the shell, and they absolutely loved it. So probably going to meet up with them when I go to Maui and do sessions with them. And they told me a few sacred places to go on Maui. So climbing, I can't remember the name of the mountain, but it's the House of the Sun. So you climb up the mountain. Haleakala. Yeah. So you climb Haleakala and go down into the crater, and it is silent and powerful. The way it is acoustically set up, it is almost wind-free, and it is silent up there. Just an amazing place. They said I have to go up there, and then the 7 sacred pools. So that's setting up as my next adventure.
At 5 a.m. The best time to go there is make sure you're there at 5, so you can see the sun rise from there. And that is the most amazing feeling. That's where the 1987 what's his name, those convergence happened right there. We were there for 3 days right there in the Haleakala itself, and thousands of people with the guy from South America. The one day out of time. What's his name? You should know. I'm sure you know who he is. As well as. It is an amazing sight. Yeah, that's you're gonna love the Haleakala. It just beats Hawaii. It beats any island. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it in all the islands.
So when I was talking to that group, I'm like, okay, that had to be an interesting experience for you, walking into this cave and hearing this flute come out of the darkness. They said, yeah, we had no idea, because it was a cave. It was like echoing around and kind of sounded omnidirectional. So they thought they were hallucinating. They're like, what is this? Is this the spirits playing? And then when they got in deep enough, they actually saw me, and they thought maybe it was a recording or maybe I was playing, but they didn't know. So then they actually sat and did ceremony. They kind of sat and meditated while I was playing that. And so they actually participated in my ceremony without me even realizing it. So I told them I felt really called to go over and offer to let them join in, but I didn't know, I didn't want to freak them out, or, I didn't know where they're at, if they're just, kind of tourists that were there to see the beach, or whether they had deeper spiritual knowledge or thirst.
Luna was offering that location looks like Mars and Helikanedan. I probably know I mispronounced it. And then also that it is the valley is also sacred and has a lot of ancient history.
Oh, Yahavah is magnificent. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, she lived on Maui for quite a while, so she has a lot of.
I lived there 17 years. Yep, actually more. Yeah, I love Maui.
Well, Luna is hooking me up with some really amazing information. So she's getting me some contacts over there and working on getting things set up on Maui. I thought I was going to end up on Kauai. Usually when I go somewhere, everybody told me my energy would be very harmonious with Kauai, and it was. I felt amazing the whole time I was there. I didn't have one headache. I was sleeping in less than ideal conditions, especially with the hurricane, but I felt amazing. I felt well rested. I felt focused. I felt driven. I felt at peace. I felt calm. It was wonderful. But usually I go somewhere, within a few hours, I find a place to stay. Within a few days, I find a job. That didn't happen. I didn't make almost any connections in Kauai for Kauai. I made connections for Maui, actually a lot of connections on Maui, but none for Kauai in Kauai. So I'm like, okay, obviously it's not meant to be. So everything's pointing towards Maui next. So we're going to see how that goes.
Very cool. And let me bring up, is this it? No. Here we go. We were just talking about Pachamama Day earlier, so I'm just going to share. This is the picture of the one that I did. Chrome tab. So there's this one, and this is really embellished quite a bit. There is a much more basic version of it, so let me bring that up. A whole bunch of people in our group were posting different pictures. So here's like here's another one that you can see from the group that made it, and this is the one that Zane did, who's my teacher. And the whole despacho is just real basic, a little bed of cotton balls, a shell across, and then 9 kintu that represent the earth, the water, the wind, the sun. The fifth one is Wiracocha, and then one that would be for all the nature spirits that you work with, all your apus and nustas, masculine and feminine spirits. One for your Ituapu, which is the masculine spirit of your place of emergence. One for your Pacarina, which is the feminine spirit of your place of emergence. And then the final one is for your Wilikanuna Cheska, which is your sacred soul star. So real basic little despacho. Cool.
Do you have a way of have all this written out? I would love to have a copy of this.
It's in my head. maybe I can write it up. Well, and I posted I recorded me building one, and I have the recording. I posted it at the beginning of our stream today. And
then the spelling and all that. So you record and let it type. You can go to note.
Maybe.
Yeah, I know it's one more thing to do, but it would be so nice. I love your sharing.
Yeah, and then he embellished it. So this was the basic version, and then he embellished it a little bit with other flowers and berries and things like that. Yeah.
Wow.
You can get as elaborate as you want. I even put like birthday candles in mine since it's her Pachamama Day. But all the students did different ones. Here's another one that was basic. The whole group did really amazing. Oh, there's my little video, but you can go back Louie in our group did an amazing one. She started with the most basic. This is the bare bones, and then she just continued to embellish it more and more and more. She even lit birthday candles for her. Look at that.
Wow.
And then you bundle it up like this. And this despacho you typically bury, though you could burn it if you wanted to, but typically you bury this one. And so when Brian says he does ceremony, it's not always stuff like this, but I'll show you guys this.
Where can you see this?
Oh, where can you see it? Oh, these are not posted publicly. This is in our little Facebook group for the apprenticeship program. But and then this is just pictures of people's full mesa spreads that if you want to get an idea of how mesas can vary so much depending on personality and other things that you're interested in. They can be very simple or they can be super elaborate, but you make them your own. And I mix, because I practice a couple different traditions, I mix all kinds of different things in with mine. And you can see here, there's like little different masks and things that people put in. So you can really make it your own while still keeping like the unbroken tradition. And I believe the last one, that's my mesa in my office. And then this is the, what I made this one, this is a community mesa. So whenever I do group ceremonies, this is the spread that I put out. So it's a little bit more elaborate than.
Wow. I love it.
The one park keeper that was prevented me from going to the Blue Room, and she's like, don't go there. It's shut down for a reason. I'm like, okay. So there was something energetically going on. But she told me the importance of giving back. So it's not, she, talked about Aini basically, with the land. So when you go to these places, you do these ceremonies, the land is feeding you, but it's very important to give back to the land. So she didn't say despacho. The way they give back is they work on the land. They do things with the land and improve the land is one of the ways that they give back to the land. But that's very, very in line with the Peruvian tradition and Aini with the land.
Mm-hmm. And Aini translates to divine reciprocity. And one of the greatest things we can give to the land from the Southern tradition is your hucha, your heaviness, because for the earth, it digests that heaviness and breaks up that dense energy into lighter energy. So one of your greatest gifts is actually what holds you down. It can be what Zane's, it was Elizabeth Jenkins who said it, that angel poop is light for us and our heaviness is light for the underworld. So the things that you feel are negative, that could be one of the greatest gifts you could actually offer to Pachamama and that type of thing. Yeah.
In Hawaii,
you might serve Tibetan and Mayan practices, absolutely.
Yeah, in Hawaii, it's no matter where you go, it doesn't have to be just a sacred place. As soon as you enter something new, like if you go to Yahavah and it's your first time, you're supposed to give flowers. If you're going to go to the beach and you take one tiny little stone, you have to give some food to the water. That's kind of how it is in Hawaii. Everywhere you go, when you go to any kind of aina, you give something.
Just walking on a hike in the woods, like Casey and I will bring Florida water and we'll have bay leaves and stuff like that. And as we're going through, we're offering little gifts to, like when we're nature spirits, we'll be giving a little drink of Florida water or doing a kintu and offering the leaves in a certain area. And it's just being really present and aware for the land. We got a question from Ace. Question for anyone. South Big Island, Hawaii, around Ocean View. I have heard the whole area feels bad and negative. Have you guys been there?
Yes, but I don't say it's negative. No, I just say the people that are there are people who they like to take from the land. They don't like to give. So there's a lot of drugs. And there's a lot of people that are not, otherwise the place itself is gorgeous. It's one of the most beautiful sites of the island. But because it's so remote, people can live against the rules of the city. So when the first Howleys, American, arrived in Big Island, they all crowded in that area because they can grow their pot and live on food stamps. So now they became famous for growing pot and living on food stamps, and that was their place to gather all around Ocean View, because they can walk to the ocean and they can have, their little land, do whatever they want. And the Hawaiian people did not appreciate that. So that is the negative, which now has been cleared a lot. A lot of these people are disappearing. But it's not all gone. It's not. So people over there, you hear a lot of people steal. You cannot leave your house empty, because you might come back and all your furniture is gone. Yes, there's a lot of that. But anyway, so go ahead if you have something else to add.
I haven't been down there that much, although the one time I did go down there, on like the wall of a grocery store, someone put a hit out. So yeah, they said, wanted, live or dead, take this person out. And it was like, whoa. So it happens. A lot of people get disappeared in Hawaii. And I forget how many, I forget the massive number of, especially kids, but people disappear. And I found out it isn't just for human trafficking, for sex slavery, for slavery. It's actually for the organ trade. So the Big Island especially, you have so many hippies coming in, kind of floating in, floating out, no accountability. Nobody knows who they are, where they came from, where they're going. They kind of come in and leave without saying goodbye to anyone. Sometimes they'll even leave their stuff behind. So they're such easy targets. And that's what I know people, good Hawaiians, are trying to track these people down and bring this to an end. And it's a full-blown war. And then so that's just one aspect. Can you imagine being caught? You're here on your vacation and you end up having your organs harvested while you're alive, and then they dispose of your body. It's insane. So a lot of people.
I no longer want to come visit you, Brian, after hearing this.
No, I don't think so. Maybe it happened once in a hall. Come on, I have never heard of this, and I lived here 20 years. No, that's really, you always have a way of, okay. No. Those things happen everywhere. Those things can happen everywhere.
Yeah, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right?
But the worst part is really, it is that in that part of town, you have to really have a good neighbor. Make sure you make friends with a good neighbor who watches your place when you go to work. Yes. Yep. But the tragedy and all that, it's not known for that,
Yep.
But
and I have a comment.
That's not Ocean View alone. That's the whole Big Island, and the human trafficking is huge on the Big Island and Oahu. There's a huge, and I was even talking to Ryan, and he confirmed that on Oahu as well, that they're doing organ harvesting, and tons of people go missing, especially kids out of the foster program. They take the kids and they put these children's organs into basically anybody that can pay for them. So you're 70 years old, you want a new heart? Okay, you can buy it. Wow. And I was talking to my one friend on the Big Island, and one weekend, 11 people disappeared. And, it's big.
This was from a bit ago, but Luna was asking what we're talking about is that near to the volcanic action, the jungle does have some dark history there, an old and recent violence. And I'm not sure if that volcanic action, where that would be in relation to the location you're talking about. Then this might be out of context.
It does. Because the lava ends up in Ocean View. a lot of time.
And then she was
Yeah.
saying multiple stories regarding people disappeared legend, and there are a few stories. So even besides the modern day disappearing, it sounds like there might be some history of that happening throughout time.
Yeah, there's a bloody history in Hawaii, so it's not anything new. It's when I was staying up north in the one area I was staying at, right across the road was a heiau where they did human sacrifice. I did journey work in that, and then I realized all these dark, nasty things are coming at me. Then I realized that there was a heiau across the street. So, and we're not saying like across the street in the neighborhood. We're talking it was like a mile down the road, on the other side of the main road next to the ocean, which is like 2 miles down this dirt road. So it was a ways away, but the darkness was there. And then the other place I was staying was on King Kamehameha's warrior training ground. So that area was another interesting. The people living on that land, I forget how many people got illnesses and died on that land or had life-threatening conditions on that land. It was bad. They'd moved there and people died on that land.
Yeah, I'm gonna just visit in Dreamtime.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna make it out there eventually. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing place. I mean, especially Kauai, I didn't feel any of the darkness that I felt in, and it's really regional. Like I was saying, you go into Puna and it's full of Punatics. It attracts this tribe.
Punatics.
The north side, and you have a whole different group over there. You go to, I mean, each area has a different energy and a different tribe in that area.
Yep. Speaking of tribes, Luna was just saying tribes challenging each there, and southern Maui. Beautiful people have a unique warrior history. So, a lot of stuff going on. Now we're at about 90 minutes on the stream. Man, time flies, but we do need to start wrapping it up because for me it's late and I have to go to bed before I turn into a pumpkin. So
I was talking to Brian, at least around Thanksgiving, I'll probably come back and visit the family. So it'll be 2 years since I've been back home. So I was talking to Brian, and
which Brian are you talking about for one? Is this someone on the island? Okay. So it is a Brian. Was this the same Brian the whole time that you've been talking about?
No, Ryan on Oahu.
Ryan's and Brian's.
I know a John Bryan in Colorado. I know a Brian in Canada who's very spiritual as well. And there's another Brian, I forget where he's at, but I actually formed a Facebook chat, the Council of Brian.
Ryans and Bryans and shamans, oh my.
Can I add something before we leave?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, I want us to end this on a happy note.
Happy note.
So just to talk just a couple things about what's coming up this week, okay? So Mercury is going to move to Leo, and it's going to play with the sun. So Mercury is the child within us, yeah? So it's your children, it's the trickster, it's the genius. So imagine all this genius energy and being fired up by the king of the sky. And it's going to give him all these beautiful wings to be so creative and so free. And for the reason I wanted to bring it, because I know, Hank, that you have children and you love them dearly.
Sometimes.
So sometimes that's okay. I'm going to tell you about the times you don't. So the times you don't, this would be a perfect month to ask them what are the games that they want to play, to teach you the games they want you to learn. And you might find some joy like that, because this is the month for that. this is the month where the energy is the most playful, not just because Mercury is dealing with children and he's the trickster, but the sun itself is the month of the children where everything is all about fun. So that's why I wanted to share that with you, because I know you love kids and you have some of them.
Mhm.
Also, Venus conjunct the nodes. So Venus with the nodes, that's going to bring also some new way of expressing ourselves with more joy, with more, okay. So I can say whatever I want to say, but I choose to say it beautifully. So Venus with the nodes, the nodes are like the combination between sun and moon. What does the sun and moon exchange? So those are the nodes, and Venus contacting those points. So be open for some poetry. Be open for some beautiful freedom love. The other thing is the moon sextile Neptune, the end of the week. So we also have a beautiful time to feel like the love of the local mama, Pachamama, and the love of the divine mama. Okay, so we're having these connections of the divine mamas and connecting, and so the feminine is going to be accentuated because Venus also is going to Cancer. So it's going to bring those tradition, the old ancestor, how the old mothers ruled the world, and bring that the beauty of it. It's going to bring all the beauty of it. And the sun in Leo and Venus in Cancer. So we're going to have some, sun and moon stories. Okay.
Cool. And then,
so like I was saying, so actually, now that I'm thinking about, when is the HHH Expo?
well, it's usually the third weekend of October, and there's still some things being looked into whether or not how we're going to go about having it or what.
Oh yeah, the scamdemic.
Well, my issue is that if I go into it and I spend the money on marketing, and for any reason I can't have it, the scamdemic, plandemic, whatever, it won't be covered by my insurance, so I would not be able to refund anybody. So, like, say I spend 10 grand on marketing it, and then I can't have it, the insurance won't give me the 10,000 back that I spent, and then I don't have the funds to refund the vendor. So it's an exceptionally larger risk than normal.
Wow.
So
if you send me the timings, I'll check it out for you.
So
I don't think you should. I tell you right now, anything for October is.
Yeah, well, and then the other thing to keep in mind is my booths would have to have 6 foot distancing. So I would basically have to cut my vendors in half. So I'd have to kick some people out that have signed up, and then have the thing spacing, or I have to put up barriers. There's a lot of stuff, moving parts with that. So I'm just looking to recreate it in a different way. So we'll see. And Luna's checking out. Thank you, everyone. You're very welcome. But we'll see what happens. I'll talk offline because I do have some things that I have planned around that, but I don't want to announce it just on a stream yet. As you know, there's a saying, just for me, just for fun, never tell anyone. And at the point of where it is in the creation process, it's not yet time to fully announce it, but it is not going to end. It's merely going to change form. And I still have some tricks up my sleeve, potentially.
Yes.
Okay, well, I was like, well, maybe I can make it back. I was thinking, I feel like, okay, I want to be back and see the family for the holidays, so maybe coming back in November.
If you're back, we'll plan something. We'll be doing something.
I was thinking, oh man, if I can make the expo, we can set up the 20-foot pyramid, and we can have all kinds of shenanigans, get your bowls there, Brian, and do some really big stuff for it. But if the idiot apocalypse cancels that,
Well, we could probably still do a sound
online. Do
conversion.
it online. Just like that's what everybody does now. They do everything online.
Yeah,
But
well,
the difference
sound doesn't
between-
always translate as well online. It's good,
Yeah,
but what I've been doing at the expo recently, for those of you who don't know, I run a 30,000 square foot holistic health expo with about 150 different vendors at a local place. And one of the things that we've done in the last 3 years is we got a whole bunch of sound groups together. So like last year it was the Gong Experience, Sonic Alchemy, and myself. And we all came together and did like one unified ceremony and sound event.
Wow.
And yeah, it's great fun. But we can do that without having an expo. So we'll still definitely do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was Luna was also saying no October Hank stream. I have lots of things in the works for it already. I'm just not going to announce them yet. But yeah, we've been doing that. So this would be our 8th or 9th year. I think 9th year. I forget. We started in 2012, so I think this would be number 8 or 9. I think 8. But anyway.
So Brian was talking about doing some serious classes, some serious events. I would love to work with you when I get back. I mean, it would be amazing to do events with you in person.
No, when you come back, we need to get rigorous and record in person because streaming is great, but the quality we can get in person. And now we're doing shop talk. You know, we can talk about this offline, but while you're here, set up the recorder and get things recorded so we can we have better quality video and audio. Because I got a whole stream set up at the center. I got the soundboard. I can have 12 audio ins. It's insane what I can do. It's just it doesn't. Oh, and Angela's is tuning in. She's like, I'm sorry late. She'll have to rewatch afterwards. So, yep, thank you. I'm glad that you made it. Definitely at the very beginning, we went over the astrology. I forget now. It's been such a long stream. I forget all the cool stuff we talked about. But in the comments, there's a link to a Pachamama Roimi Despacho ceremony I did yesterday. So also check that out.
Yeah, so I already have some classes shot. Like I sent you the Food Forest workshop. Did you do anything with that? The video clips I sent you?
I haven't, but I just got the new computer that actually can handle that stuff. So I'm going to be.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah, this thing has like 32 gigabytes of RAM. It's insane.
I have like 3 completed classes so far. And I got to work more. I got to really sit down, work on these classes, get them finished, get them to the place where they have clear goals. Well, and I mean, that's one of the things I'm going to start my classes with, clearing belief statements, talking about the goals, having clear, okay, this, and this is what you're going to get out of this class. Go through and do the class. And it's combining everything I've learned, everything that I've channeled, everything I've picked up. I'm super excited about these classes, and I'm going to, I've already started filming on location. So with my camera, I've filmed in Australia. I need to do more filming here in Hawaii, but I just haven't had, things haven't lined up to do that yet.
Right.
So
I love this comment. She wishes us all abundance and shenanigans. Excellent show.
Yeah,
Shaman shenanigans. It's our favorite thing.
You guys, I'm going to say good night.
Good night. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
Thank you. See you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Aloha.
Fun. No, and I'm surprised she escaped before me. That's not nice.
That's funny.
Oh, anyway, well, we're doing a lot of shop talk. We can chat about that anytime and not at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah,
so
a lot of exciting stuff, and I don't want to come back to the cold. I really dislike the cold, but I feel like, okay, now it's time to come back home for a minute and connect with everybody and get things going, and then we can all go to tropical places all around the world.
Absolutely.
Bali and Nepal, kind of on the far reaches. So maybe not this year, maybe sometime next year. I'm feeling heading to Nepal, heading to Bali. So those are, after I explore the Hawaiian Islands, really all I have big, there's Lanai, but there's not much in Lanai, and nobody really goes to Lanai. So the next is Maui. And depending on, I'm going to go over there next. I feel like maybe I'll be there, treat it like a vacation even. So I might be there a few weeks, a few months, maybe a few years. I don't know. I'm just like open. But I will get answers over there. So then I'll know my next step. from Maui. I'd love to hit Molokai, but right now with the scamdemic, they're very, I don't want to say xenophobic, but they're not big on outsiders. During this pandemic, they probably don't want anybody coming. So I might not get a chance to make Molokai on this trip.
Shift from shop talk and let's end on a healing note.
Okay, yes, okay.
And we can do shop talk anytime.
So what are you feeling? You know, you saw this. What you know, I talked about the sacred places I was this week. What are you feeling? What would you like?
I think that you should bring in the energy of what you experienced in that cave and do a transmission of that energy, so we can all have a taste of that amazing cave.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I was feeling.
And before we do this, I'm going to grab that picture again. And that way, as we do it, people can be looking at that cave and tuning into it as you do your transmission. Oh, where was that? Here we go. I think I found it. I don't know if this is going to be the best one, but I can tweak it from here. Chrome tab, Facebook. There we go. I think the first one was, that one I think is probably the best to connect with. What do you think?
Yeah, that's probably a good one.
Okay. And was there a particular name to this cave?
There is, and I cannot remember.
Okay.
Actually, do a quick Google search of the Dry Cave.
The Dry Cave, Hawaii?
Yeah, Kauai.
Spell that for me.
Kauai.
Oh, Manahinaolo?
Yes, that's probably
right. Okay, but I do have I got this right spelling, so let me throw this up in a banner so people have the name of it as well. Create a banner.
I still have trouble remembering the Hawaiian names. If someone has a very Hawaiian name, I have trouble remembering it. I have trouble remembering the names of places. I can start to pronounce it. You kind of get the pronunciation and the feel for the language just through.
Oh, connecting to search results. That's silly.
Okay. Where is it?
No, I'm just resaving it here. Connecting to Mananholo Dry Cave. There we go.
No, Maniholo.
Okay, well, I'm sure the spirits won't give me a hard time about not pronouncing it right.
The I sounds like an E, so E.
It's okay. We got
Anini Holo.
All right, I'll do some toning and let you do your thing.
Okay, feel yourself in a cool, comfortable, slightly damp place. Completely shielded from sound, completely shielded from any disturbance. Just absolutely peaceful in there. And you feel this calm silence, this peace that is deafening. And it's so still. It's just absolutely still in there. So feel this, and then feel the antiquity of this cave. Feel the use over many, many eons. This goes back to Mu and beyond, even Boon. So many, many, many ceremonies have been held in this cave. Feel the sacredness, connect with the ancestors. We invite the spirit of Manini Holo Cave. Any nature spirits come in. Please project the energy and the healing of this sacred place. All the Ohana, Spirit of the Aina. Feel the power, feel the knowledge. Set any intention you have and ask them. Ask the ancestors, Ask any beings of pure light that reside here. Open yourself up to this experience. Calling in any beings of light for protection, for answers. Feel the energy coming through, washing over you, surrounding you. Imagine being in this dark, black, silent, calm, peace inside the earth. Completely shielded, feeling earth energy, energy of the ceremony, energy of the Ohana that has been many great kahunas and teachers. Feel the ancient energy coming around you. Feel it washing over your head with answers. Feel free to ask questions of your heart. Feel free to ask assistance with anything that troubles you. And if you ask with the true intention of your heart, it can be granted. When you're in Hawaii, you ask, things are given. Hawaii. You ask with the purest of intentions. The Ohana, the ancestors, the family will answer. The islands will answer. The living energy of the islands will answer. Help you. Let that sink in. Now, for anything you've been given, give the highest thanks. In Hawaiian, thank you is mahalo. So offer the biggest mahalo from your heart for any of the energy from the cave, from any of the energy from the Ohana family, from the ancestors, from any of the kahuna spirits that are in this cave. Give the nature spirits, the deities of the planet. Thank them. Mahalo, mahalo. When you're ready to exit this energy, give them a big aloha. Parting with aloha. Love, goodbye. Aloha.
Aloha. Amazing.
Could you feel that? Okay, what did you experience?
Just like a embracing energy, like almost like being coddled. If that's the word I want to use, yeah. And while we were doing that, though, you were giving that walkthrough, I was also just going from in the tradition that Brian and I learned. There, when you have an opportunity to work with the cave, one thing you can do is start with your most recent memory, and if you want, you can rewind the video and go through it again and do this exercise, what I was doing. But basically, you think of the most recent memory, and if it had hucha, you allow that just to flow from you, and it goes right into the cave. You're in the womb of Pachamama, and it just effortlessly allows any heaviness to flow from you to the cave. And if you have a moment that's light, you savor it for a moment and you let that flow as well. And you keep going back in your memories until your goal is to get back to your place of your time of birth, to get all the way back to even being in the womb. And when you get to that point, you call in the energy of your parents. And with the greatest gratitude, you thank their energy, their hatan uma, their higher selves, because for better or for worse, whatever your experience was growing up, they got you to where you're at. and you thank them for their contribution to getting you to that point in time. And you then allow any heaviness to flow from them through you into the cave. So in a way, you're being the gateway for the heaviness of your ancestral line, for your parents and then beyond, going back in the family lines. And after you do that, you are bestowed and given your family gifts, like your from your ancestry, like all your spiritual family gifts. And when you emerge from the cave, you're emerging a new person, and you are, in a way, in a sense, graduating from your parents being your parents to your Itoapu and your Pakarina, which is like the nature spirits that hold the blueprint for the perfect you, and allows you now putting all that heaviness and past behind you, having the gifts that your family has refined over generations, now moving into reascend up through the physical plane to divinity. So that's what I was doing. Wow, I was also being embraced. And so you can go back and you can go through it, and if you want to give that exercise a try too. And Angela was just saying, beautiful, beautiful energy. Thank you. You're very welcome.
As I was bringing through the energy, all of a sudden I started going into journey space, and I'm like, whoa! I got tingles, and then I just felt it coming through me. I'm like, wow, this.
I almost want to grab my flute, since I knew you played the flute while you're in the cave, but it was all the way on the other side of the room, so I didn't want to have to get up and go running around. But that would have been, if I had thought about it in advance, I should have had it ready.
Yeah, I could have even had my flute played for a minute. That would have been nice.
Oh, my chair is not working for me here. There we go. But awesome. That's really the best way to end. Is always on these little healing notes. Maybe we should start that way too next time, if we're actually start with a little ceremony, maybe open up calling in all the energies, always start and end with ceremony. I think we will be adapting that. We'll always do that going forward.
I'll start with the shell. That's how I always start my ceremonies, calling in divinity.
Yeah, that will also wake up us folks that are here at midnight now, 2:00 in the morning, Brian. I'm always thinking, we're just going to keep it to an hour, but we had to make up for last week since we didn't stream. We had to give people
double episode. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't see you anyway, but now that we have done that, it is time for me to go to bed. And thank you, Brian, for sharing everything. 3 things coming up. If you made it all this way, not tomorrow. This is going to be this Friday. Me and Dr. K are going to be on Friday at 10 o'clock for a talk on health, wealth, and prosperity. And that's going to be streaming on the Holistic Health and Healing channel. And then on August 17th, it's a Monday, we're going to be doing a healing clinic. If you're local, you can book a time. It's like $20 for a session, and you get a little bit of time with me and a little bit of time with Dr. K, and it's just intended for a real quick energy tune-up. So if you're interested in that, you can find out more information at hhh.life. There is under the events tab, there's a link for more information, and you can find out about that. And a week from today, Case and I will be doing a virtual group healing session where we're going to have crystal bowls lined up. It's going to be virtual. You just tune in. If you register on our website, Stir Crazy Shamans, we will call your name in individually during the opening ceremony, since we'll have your name with all the registration information. But it's free to attend. If you register, then we're going to be making a little bit more of a personalized experience with that. And Angela was just saying, it's a great idea about starting the show with ceremony. Absolutely. It's like, why wouldn't we do that sooner? It just took us how many episodes to come to that awareness?
Well, I have to start getting ready sooner, because I'm usually running around last minute. I have these computer errors and I'm trying to freak out. But yeah, I need to be more set up and already kind of in that space to start. And I think a ceremony would be a great way to kind of let go of the hoochas, let go of anything, and just let pure information come through.
And just set the tone for it. And even if you're running a little bit late, if I know you're about to be on, I could always start just calling in Pachamama and just going around the directions. And then when you come in, perfect timing for Queechy, with having the horn, the conch shell and everything. I can't be doing that. I'll wake up the kids. But you can do it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, on that healing note, I'll play my fun little flower exit video. We want to thank everybody for being here with us. We'll be back on again next Tuesday for another Midnight Meanderings, and hopefully Casey and I will be getting back to a more regular schedule. We've both been so busy with clients and summer stuff that we have not been streaming as much. And I think it's over a week now that since we've done one. So it's good that me and Brian are holding down the fort with our Midnight Meandering segment.
Yeah, and also anytime, get a hold of me. My website is infinitelovemovement.org. Brian Daniel Edwards on Facebook or Instagram. Get a hold of me, and I can do a session, remote session, video session, phone session, or even just work on. I help a lot of people. They message me, shoot me a text, and I'll work on them. And so anytime, get a hold of me, and I'm always open for sessions as well.
Yep, I put your website up there, and if you're interested in working with me, my website is my name, hanksetala.com, because I kept rebranding myself, and then Spirit said, hey, silly, you're always you. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense, so I'll just be me. So there's my website if you want to get in touch with me. And thank you again for everybody for hanging with us, and we will catch you next week. Angela says, thank you guys. You're very welcome. I hope you enjoy the replay. And if you have questions while you're watching the replay, feel free to make comments. When we pick it up again next week, we can answer any questions that people have or made on the previous week's stream. So we can definitely still get to those if there's things that you want to know about or want more information on. And until next time, we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Aloha.